And my dad too, God bless him, is 95. I hope one day he'll be again and handsome looking. So, all of my family, thank you very much for always being there for me. Now, having done my family, I've got to do Darnie's family. Now, after that speech of Pogs, I was going to say, bloody hell, that sounds fantastic, I'll take 2. But actually, I think I'm going to have my hands full with just the one. So, Pog and Brian have, from the first moment I met them, and I met them quite early on, not long after I met Darnie, I was kidnapped by one of Darnie's brothers, Jeff, and dragged down to Deal, and I spent, well, I vaguely remember some of it. What I remember is that it was fun. The details though are very hazy. But Pog and Brian have been just fantastic. They've also helped to lay all of this on, well, helped, they've kind of taken it over. And so, from the bottom of my heart, thank you both very much for all that you've done. It's just fantastic. So, that brings us to the most important person of all, doesn't it? Oh well, Grace, oh dear. What you have to bear in mind, Grace, is that this is Mum's big day. You'll have a big day of your own, I'm sure. Darnie and I did actually meet in a pub, so it's quite appropriate that we get married in one. We've spent a lot of our time in pubs as well, thinking about it. So, Darnie and I have, well, I know exactly how long we've been together because fortuitously we met just before my 40th birthday, so I can always work back from there, given that I can still remember how old I am. And of course I've reached that advanced age now where I'm having difficulty remembering. When I was asked when we were filling in the register, how old are you, I had to do counting up on my fingers, which is a bit embarrassing. Of course Darnie's a lot younger than I am, so that's all right. And actually in the contractual small print it says that I have to point out as well that Charlie is also considerably younger than I am. But what I would like to say about Darnie is that she's been just a wonderful person to be with, and in the last, I don't know, when I was working abroad, it was a couple of years ago, and I spent a lot of time working in India, and I realised when I was away from her how much I missed being with her. So I did, on one trip to Delhi, I did hatch this plan of a holiday in Paris, so that we could combine it with taking Gracie to Euro Disney, and I was going to do this romantic proposal on the Eiffel Tower. I'm not a great romantic. I'm a bit of a sentimentalist. I mean, whenever we go to Crop Ready and they sing Meet on the Ledge at the end, I always cry. I think that's probably as much to do with the sheer volume of Messrs. Wadsworth's products that I've consumed during the day. But anyway, we went to Paris and we got to the Eiffel Tower, and there was a huge queue for the lift, horrible queue. So Grace said, let's go upstairs. So I thought, could work. And she took off at a fair lick, and I trudged on after her. And there was rather more stairs than I anticipated. So we got up to the first level, and I sat down and thought, well, this will do. This is as good a spot as any. So I sat down on the bench and was beckoning Darnie over, but Grace was up, off to the second stage. Oh no, we had to follow. So we got up to the second stage, and by then I was still beckoning. Grace was running round and round, and by the time I'd managed to sit myself down, they were back down again. And then we were off in search of ice creams, and kind of the moment had passed, and anyway, I was too out of breath to say anything. So it was a couple of months later. I think it was at a do at the bandstand up on the East Cliff. And yeah, big up the East Cliff. And actually Gad's beer was involved. It was the wonderfully self-limiting she sells, see, I can't even say that. You've had 4 pints and you can't order anymore, so that's a splendid idea. And I'd consumed a couple of pints and I was just explaining to Dani about my grand plan and how it had all gone so horribly wrong. And she looked and said, well, we could still get married, couldn't we? And I thought, well, yeah, that would be brilliant. So it wasn't really a kind of romantic moment, but it was kind of, I don't know, yes, it's an Owen moment. It sums up our time together, really, that we've had a wonderful time, and I'm sure we're going to have lots and lots more wonderful times. Especially with a bunch of friends, just as wonderful as you lot. So once again, thank you, each and every one of you, for coming here. I'm going to sit down now because I'm thanked out. Thank you all very much.
Okay. I know it's